We start off with the armed forces of Nigeria, who have begun a 3-day national mourning period for the 17 soldiers who were killed during a peaceful mission in Okwama, Ughelli South local government area of Delta State. Arise News correspondent Ferdinand Durowa visited some military installations to observe the mood.
The Nigerian Air Force. Flying the flag at half-mast is a gesture of respect and sorrow for the heroic personnel who have lost their lives in the service of the nation. Also conspicuous is the black armband worn by military personnel mourning the deceased soldiers. Director, Defense Media Operations, speaks on the significance of a national mourning.
It will give us time to reflect. And it should not be just us, it should be the whole nation. We should reflect. We should reflect. Where is it done? Where is it done? That he that has come to make peace will just be killed in such a manner, wearing the uniform of your nation.
He further sheds light on the killings and its security implications.
With what has happened, it only goes to demonstrate the manner in which troops place themselves in harm's way in order to protect citizens and restore security in our country. As a result of that, we have now a new set of widows, children without their fathers anymore, brothers or uncles. That said, there is no doubt that when you touch us in this manner, there will be injurious consequences. And that is not to say that the armed forces is not a professional force.
On the billboard at the entrance of the Armed Forces complex are pictures of the fallen heroes, 17 soldiers killed while on a mission to bring peace to two warring communities. The military is asking the public to come forward with useful information which will help ensure justice is served on the culprits. Ferdinand Durowa, Arise News.
Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has expressed strong doubts that the killers of the soldiers were from the Niger Delta. In plenary, Akpabio, however, cautioned strongly against jumping to any conclusions on the matter until the Senate's investigation is completed. Arise correspondent Omo Bazoaye tells us more.
Senate observes a minute silence in honor and final salute to the 16 soldiers brutally killed in Okwama community in Delta State last Thursday. Condemning the killings, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has strong reservations that those behind it are from the Niger Delta region, even as he backs Senate resolution to investigate the matter and unmask the perpetrators.
Your additional prayer should actually be to carry out a thorough investigation to know whether these were mercenaries from outside Niger Delta who came in to commit this crime, because I don't think these people are Niger Deltans. We are not at war, even in a period of war, to lose such number of personnel. No community will go to the extent of doing this kind of thing. I don't think they are from Niger Delta.
The probe follows a point of order raised by the Chairman Senate Committee on Army, Senator Abdulaziz Yardua. Senator Ede Dafinone, who represents the area where the incident occurred, enjoins the military high command to tamper justice with mercy to prevent further escalation of the situation.
I'm equally concerned and ask that the Senate show some concern that if the matter is not carefully handled, it might also lead to a further breakdown of law and order, occasioned by a major humanitarian crisis within the riverine communities of Delta State. and therefore plead with Mr. President, the Defense Headquarters, and the Chief of Defense Staff to please temper justice with mercy.
Since the incident on Thursday, hundreds of houses have been set ablaze with unspecified number of persons caught in the crossfire. While Senator Osita Izunazo wants the blame to go round, his counterpart, Senator Siraki Dixon from Bayelsa State, cautioned strongly against the blame game until the outcome of investigation by the Senate, stressing that similar clash is already unfolding in Bayelsa State.
There's a situation also going on in Bayelsa, in a community called Egbomotor, in southern Ijaw local government area, where the military, for whatever reason, maybe in connection or not in connection, but at the end of an inquiry we'll know whether there's any link. There are some casualties I hear. Houses have also been destroyed and so on.
Senator Hamid Lawal condemns the killings of the soldiers, adding that what happened in Okwama was carefully planned and executed. The Deputy President of the Senate, Jibrin Brau, also condemns the killings. The Senate observes a minute silence in honor of the slain soldiers and called on the federal government to educate citizens about their civil responsibilities to security agencies in the country. It also canvassed recruitment of more policemen so that military can be relieved of internal security challenges.
We are calling for investigation to unravel the culprits so that they will be brought to book. And I said that it is not in the character of our people to go killing and cutting off the heads of men and women in uniform. I'm a Niger Deltan. I know this is totally uncommon. This is not something anybody would think of. This is barbaric, this is brutal. This is the kind of thing that you hear with organized terrorist groups. Such people must be declared as terrorists.
The probe is referred to relevant Senate committees on defense and national security. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
All right, well, those are the latest developments. Let's come back into studio to unpack this. Rufai, your thoughts on these latest developments?
I mean, it's very sad that our troops had to die this way. But like I always say, there's a danger of a single story. And in matters of crisis like this, we must be careful not to be making the danger of a single story. Yes, our troops, very sad, I feel for them. But now we're hearing about actions everywhere, and we're wondering what's going on. The president of the Ijaw Youth Council was here, Jonathan Lukpobiri, and he talked about killing. In fact, I've said he should provide evidence, probably maybe in further engagement to you to see those evidence. But if those things are true, so why is this extension of action? We're hearing Edo, we're hearing Rivers, we're hearing up by us that people are being killed. Like I questioned yesterday, why should we hear narratives like moderate, injurious? I mean, if we arrest the culprits, we have laws of the land that they should go through. So why are we hearing in moderate, moderate, injurious actions being taken? Because I keep saying, two wrongs cannot make a right. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboriwori went there, and I was sad at what he said, that he cannot even give a report of the on-the-spot assessment because it's been denied from going. So how can the chief security officer of a state be denied from seeing casualty levels and things like that? He needs to be able to have all the facts. Who are those preventing Sheriff Oboriwori? These are the questions we should ask. He needs to be able to have all the facts so he can break the president up effectively. And for the Senate, it is best they don't say what they don't talk about things they don't know, since they don't have the facts. The word that were attributed to the Senate president, I think the president should just hold it there. Anyway, he's come out to say that he didn't mean it that way, that people are representing. I think he should hold it there, because we cannot start saying things we don't have the facts. If the state chief security officer does not have the facts on casualty levels and things like, and even the state of the community, then what are we talking about? I would like to call again. they should, for the sake of independent assessment of this situation, they should open up the Okwama community. Let's even know what has transpired there. Because it's a danger of a single story. We are having stories and counter stories. We are seeing videos and everything. We should have an independent assessment. If possible, we should allow journalists go in there. And also, when it comes to situations like this, please, let media houses also subject videos they are going to be seeing in all of this crisis to timestamp and empirical check devices, because there are a lot of fake stories going around. So we don't make the danger of a single story, and the bit of reporting, we don't report propaganda. The only evidence we've seen from that adjoining community is the evidence as interviewed on the state broadcaster, DRT, with Delta Rainbow Television, where the people talked about the fact that, okay, there was opening fire by the military. And the military too has also responded to that. But I don't understand this, circle of area of concentration that has now gone up to the creeks, the Ondo and all of that. What is really going on? And will the military also, be kind to brief us up on their actions? While all of this is going on, we commiserate with the soldiers and the families that have lost their life. We also commiserate with the civilians that have been caught in all of this, because these people too are human beings and they need to be humanized. We have no business of this killing. There's too much killing in the country that we need to stop.
Okay, can we unpack the basic issues? One, the response by the National Assembly. I think it's in order. The Senate yesterday, following a motion of urgent national importance moved by Senator Yaradua, decided to make their own contributions. It was not only the Senate President that spoke. There were other contributors to the debate. Dafinone, we're told, Siriaki Dixon, Senator Izuna Saw, all of them expressing their concern about what has been collectively considered an assault on the integrity of the nation and an affront on human values. The slaughter of 17, soldiers who were reportedly on a peace mission to the Okwama community. The problem, again and again, raises serious questions about the state of insecurity in the country. And the number one challenge that the Tinubu administration is having to confront, whether it's about soldiers or it's about farmers or it's about communities across the country. So the National Assembly was perfectly in order, both the Red Chamber and the House of Representatives, to have focused on this issue. They will have been remiss in their responsibility as representatives of the Nigerian people if they did not take an interest in the matter. And at the level of the Senate has said all the various committees that are related to the military should collaborate with the Nigerian military to see, how the matter can be investigated and the perpetrators of the heinous crime committed along the Forcados River can be brought to book. So I think that the National Assembly has discharged its responsibility in this particular regard. As for the Senate President saying that maybe there were mercenaries involved and not the people of the Niger Delta, well, he probably doesn't have the facts. So he probably was expressing his outrage, his concern, his consternation at the level of the audacity, the temerity of anybody to take on Nigerian soldiers and decimate them, wipe out what will amount to a whole unit in that manner. That's that about National Assembly. The second issue is the governor of Delta State, Oberewori, visiting President Tinubu. Well, that's after a fashion. Whenever there is a crisis in any part of the country, it's the usual fashion for the governor of the state to go to the president and to say, this is the situation report. Oberewori says, well, we didn't bargain for what happened, where nobody bargains for tragedy. People should sound a bit more, they should go beyond rhetorics. Nobody bargains for tragedy in any part of the world, but it has happened. It is, however, reassuring that he says, his administration is taking all the necessary steps. He has met with the military chiefs in Bomadi, in Okwama. to see what can be done. He has not been able to meet with the leaders of the Okwama community because he says the community is already deserted. He has gone on an inspection tour of the extent of the damage, and he has visited, President Tinubu to give, a report as governor of the state to the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So all that is in order. But Oberawori should also be told that as the man on the ground, he needs to do more. Because all these ethnic conflicts among the people of a Delta State, it's all about management. And he himself says, we can manage the situation. And then he's assuring that those attacks will not happen again. Well, is he in a position to give us that assurance? A lot of that will depend on how he manages all the centrifugal, fault lines in Delta State. And as the man on the ground, he has a duty in that regard. He has done what is necessary to be done in terms of optics, in terms of rhetorics. But the matter goes beyond that. That's what I think. Now, as to the military, what the military has done is to say, flags should be flown at half-mast in all military installations in Nigeria. That's the directive of the Chief of Defense Staff. And this involves the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, and the period is March 18 to March 20. Today is the last day. When flags are flown at half-mast, the tradition is that you are showing respect and you are mourning the loss. But I hope that the Nigerian military will go beyond that to make sure that support is provided for the families of the fallen heroes, and that also the wives of the fallen soldiers, those who were married amongst them, will not be maltreated. Because again and again, we keep hearing the stories that once you are a soldier and something happens to you on the battlefield, they will just tell your family to leave the barracks. All of these people, they need to be supported. And then, of course, there have been calls for compensation for the affected families by, members of the National Assembly and also by Governor Oberawori himself, where compensation will not bring anybody back to life. But whatever support can be provided, should be provided with a human face. The big challenge that the entire country faces, in my view, is to make sure that we don't keep having this kind of situation that reminds us that our condition has gone worse. I keep telling people, the way we are going since May 2023, President Buhari, that we all criticize to no end, we sit down and be laughing. And they will say, I think they say they can do it. Now let them go and try it now. Because our condition has gotten worse since President Buhari left the saddle. Now, I don't feel very comfortable with that. The governance of Nigeria should be improving from government to government. Not that all of us will be engaging in a backward glance and saying, wait a moment. Under Buhari, I thought we were doing better. What are we faced with now? And that's the responsibility for President Tinubu. And finally, the people who are trying to play politics against this, with all of this, can they begin to behave like adults? In Bayelsa State, High Chief Timi Presiva and Governor Doyediri, they've been arguing over these are state-sponsored actors and all of that. Look, this is not a time for politicking. We're talking about tragedy, a national tragedy. And the leaders of Bayelsa State, Doyediri and Timi Presiva, should resist the temptation to reduce this to kindergarten politics. I read the report about their quarreling among themselves. Is that what we're talking about? Please, adults should behave like adults. This is my submission.
Right, now just to quickly touch on what took place at plenary yesterday and to just put a human face to this. It was disappointing for me to hear that Senator Ede Dafinone put forward a prayer for relief for these communities, for the Okwama communities, for the innocent civilians who have been caught in the crossfire, those who have had to desert their homes, they've left behind their property. Economic times are still distressing. They've left their means of making income. We've heard reports of people currently still in hiding in forests, women, children. We've interviewed men whose businesses have collapsed because of this ongoing crisis. So to hear that a prayer that was put forward by Senator Dafinoni for relief, he asked that NEMA, the National Emergency Management Agency, come in to intervene for those who have been affected by this, is heartbreaking. Because the response was that we should not provide relief for those who have been harboring such characters. We need to put a human face to this. We need to put a human face to this. Because we live alongside, criminals and bad actors in every part of society, unfortunately. But it's not their fault that they happen to live amongst these people. And given the power that these people have as well, they probably didn't have a choice either. So my plea today is for the humanitarian face to this crisis. These communities, let cameras in, let the media in. Let's see what we're dealing with. Let's see what's happening on the ground. Let's ascertain the casualty levels and let's provide support. Because these are human beings, these are Nigerians, and these are people who were just going about their business when life happened. All right, well, let's take a look at other news making the rounds this morning. Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has briefed President Bola Tinubu yesterday at State House, Abuja, on the recent killing of 16 military personnel in the southeastern state. The Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Ways and Means says it has uncovered different places where the Central Bank of Nigeria allegedly granted unilateral approvals to the loans, as the committee plans to summon the current CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso to explain certain details regarding the infraction. Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, that's Mr. Mele Kayari, yesterday said the final investment decision on the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project will be taken in December 2024. Zenith Bank PLC has announced the appointment of Dr. Adora Umeoji as its Group Managing Director, Chief Executive, with effect from June 1st, 2024. And now on the foreign scene, the U.S. Supreme Court on Tuesday declined to block a Republican-backed Texas law allowing state law enforcement authorities to arrest people suspected of crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally, rejecting a request by President Joe Biden's administration. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken returns to the Middle East on Wednesday for his 6th visit since the start of Israel's war with Hamas to push for a deal to secure a temporary pause in fighting and the release of hostages held by Hamas.